Hello, Africa. This is your man Zenebe Hailu, right, coming to you from Addis Ababa, the heart of Africa and Ethiopia. And this is English for teachers, also the teachers. They come up with a brand new lesson that's going to be models. So I'm going to give you model summary. We teachers mostly rely on modal verbs when you give instruction to our students, suggestion, comments, blah blah blah. So this video will give you a valuable lesson. So stay tuned until the end of the video. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe and of course like the video. And for fellow Ethiopians, I'd like to say Happy New Year. In Ethiopia, we're going to welcome the new year, that's 2014, because we Ethiopians directly get our own calendar from God, the Ark of Covenant. It'll be sacred. I'm going to come up with this info for next time. Anyways, for fellow Ethiopians, Happy New Year, and all Africa, welcome back again to your channel. So let's hit it. Stay tuned.
Summary of all models in English. This is a software academic English for all subject teachers. Hello, I'm Zenebe Hailu. Welcome back again. I'm here to share with you the meaning, use, and the forms of all modal verbs in English with brief examples. So stay tuned until the end of the video. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. So we start with looking at the types of modals in the English language. Of course, there are 9 modal verbs in English language, and these are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must. And there are other auxiliary verbs like ought to, used to, dare, need, have to, which are used in similar way. So currently we are going to see the uses of these modals. When we talk about the uses of modals, we can have 2 explanations. The first explanation is that modals are auxiliary verbs which combine with the main verb to express a range of meanings such as possibility, obligation, necessity, and ability. One thing you always need to remember is that they are never about factors. These modal verbs are not about facts, but about the speaker's or listener's opinion at the time of speaking. So we're going to come to the forms and the meaning of these modal verbs. You don't use to after a modal verb except with ought to, have to, and used to. Let's take an example. I must go now. This sentence is totally wrong because we don't use to, and the second example is right. I must go now. So don't forget, only the 3 modal verbs I have expressed earlier used to, except that never used in other modal verbs. Secondly, modals not use third person, that is s forms, ing forms, or ed endings. Directly we're going to come to modal summary. So let's see the function and the past forms of all modal verbs with brief examples. We start with the 9 modals, the first group, that means. So let's begin with looking at can and could. The past form of can is could, and the negative form of can is can't or cannot, and which is the past form is couldn't. And of course, could and couldn't have similar forms in the past. So when it comes to the function, these both modal verbs can be used to express offers. For example, I can help or I could help. We could do it for you. And again, you can use them to state requests. For instance, can you do this for me? Or could you do this for me? Can you come tonight? Again, you can use to express possibility. You can park here. There are double yellow lines. Next, you can use them to express deduction. For example, you can be very old. It could be about 50. Lastly, the well-known use or function of these modal verbs are expressing ability, and you can use them to express ability. For instance, She can sing beautifully. He could play well when young. Okay, next we are going to see may versus might. As you know, the past form of may is might, and the negative may not. The past form is may not. In the past, both of them are used mostly for reporting, and might and might not are similar in both cases when they are changed into past. But one thing you need to remember is when it is in the past, mostly we use it to for reporting. So we can have three major functions of these modal verbs. The first one is permission. For providing or taking permission, mostly we use may. That's the formal one. For instance, may we leave early? You may leave the room tomorrow. Now. You may not leave before 10. These are how you can use them for providing and accepting permission. You can use both of them for speculation. For instance, it might be or it may be all over there. I can't see. I may go. I'm not sure yet. Lastly, both of them can be used to state a future possibility. For instance, you might see you there. You might not be able to get there. There may not be time. Next, we're gonna see will versus want or will not. In spoken English, we don't say will not, we say want, the native form. The past form of will is would, and want becomes wouldn't, and these verbs again in the past they are mostly used for reporting purpose. And the function can be classified into four. Firstly, we can use them for requests. Will you do this again, please? You can use them for offers or ask him if you like. Again, you can use them for future possibility. To want to arrive in time. It will be quite a difficult journey. Lastly, you can use them for refusals. I won't do that, it's too dangerous. Next, we're gonna see would versus wouldn't. The past form of would is would, and the same thing happens in the negative form. Wouldn't becomes wouldn't in the past. The same thing happens. You can use them in three ways. Firstly, you can use them for requests. Would you pass me the whole punch? You can use them for advice. What would you do? You can use them for speculation again. It will be easier to go by car. Next, shall versus shouldn't. One thing in English which is a little bit different or dramatic is that shall is negatively not used. You can say it's rarely used. Anyways, in the past we can have both of them, should and shouldn't. For function, you can use them for offers as well as suggestions. For offers, let's take the example over there. Shall I go and ask her? And for suggestion again, you can use this example. Who shall we ask to the opening? Should versus shouldn't. The past form of should and shouldn't is similar. One thing that makes them differ is in the past we can use these modal verbs for reporting purpose, and their function is obvious. You can use them for asking for advice and giving for giving advice. What do you think I should do when you ask for advice? Should you tell the police about it when you give advice? Next, we're gonna see must versus mustn't. The past form of must is had to, and the past form of mustn't is didn't have to. The function is so easy, so you can use it to express obligation. The obligation when it comes from the speaker's point of view or perspective, for instance, you mustn't go out until you are better. I mustn't forget to post this. Again, you can use them for reduction purpose. What must we do to join? You must be tired after the journey. Next, we're going to come to auxiliary verbs. So let us see the auxiliary verbs that can be used similarly as modal verbs. We start with ought to versus ought not to. The first auxiliary verb that can be used as modals. Ought to and ought not to, that's the negative form. They don't have totally the past form, which is a little bit weird again in the English language. But the function is easy. They state, or they are used to state, to express obligation, which is moral obligation. As late out ring home because my families are going to work. It is a moral obligation. You are not to park there. Similarly, you don't park, for instance, on the walk, or that's the state, or on a zebra. Have to versus didn't have to. Past form of have to is had to, and the past form of don't have to, which is a negative, becomes didn't have to. Both of them are used for stating obligation, which are based on external authority, not personal point of view. For example, you have to report to the police station once a week. The external authority here is the police. We don't have to leave the building until 5. Next modal, auxiliary verb used similarly as modals is need to and needn't. One thing you need to remember is when we change need to past is we say needed to, need to, needed to. You can have two options when you use in the negative form. You can say needn't or need not, or you can say don't need to. When you change it to the past, it becomes didn't need to. So both of them are used to state necessity. For instance, we don't need to pay, it is free. I need to speak to him urgently. What do I need to do? Lastly, let's discuss about the use of past modal verbs in sentences. A past form of modals is used to analyze and speculate about past events. And we do have one rule of thumb. The auxiliary verb have is added to the modal verb. For instance, couldn't have done, should have asked. Let's use these examples or rules in sentences. We start with few sentences. So with the first modal, the council can have known the problems the road scheme would discuss. As you can see, you do have the modal verbs and have the auxiliary verb involved as well as the main verb. So you can see how the sentences are organized. They couldn't have done much research. They could have built a bypass if they had had enough money. They might have thought fewer people would use cars. They might not have been able to find an alternative. It would have been better to invest in more out-of-town parking. Let's see a few sentences again. It wouldn't have cost much extra to include a proper consultation. They should have asked the shopkeepers. They ought to have done more research. They must have realized it would cause problems. They wouldn't have done it in such a hurry. So from these examples, you can see how we can use modals in the past to speculate and to analyze, and how you can use with them the auxiliary verb have. And I hope you like this video. Thank you very much for staying with me. If you do have any question, don't forget to write your questions in the comments under my comment section. And again, like and share the video to your beloved ones. And if you are new here, subscribe to my channel for more similar videos. For fellow champions, again, Happy New Year. Until I see you next week with another brand new lesson. Bye from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. See ya!